Here's Brody Brazil.
So here we are about a third of the way into this Major League Baseball season, and I do think it's a fair time to ask the question, how exactly are things going right now in Sacramento and in Tampa? For the Rays and A's that are playing these seasons in temporary spots, two different situations. It really is apples and oranges here, but the point of this video is to take a look at both situations and the overall situation of Major League Baseball games being played in minor league parks. Is this sustainable? I know it's not fair in both situations or the right thing or the best thing in both situations, but it's those circumstances we're about to discuss here. So this is a very unique situation for 2025. I don't think this has ever happened before. It has happened where one team needs a stadium for weeks or months or a full season, but I can't recall when two teams simultaneously were using minor league ballparks for their major league seasons. The A's are doing this by choice to play in Sacramento as a bridge, they hope, to Las Vegas. The Rays are here in Tampa, and that's weird to say the Rays are in Tampa. The Rays and Tropicana Field are usually over in St. Petersburg, across the bridge, but now they're playing in Tampa by necessity due to Hurricane Milton, which ripped the roof off of Tropicana Field back in October. They're starting to put the roof back on Tropicana Field, but there's no certainty that the Rays are actually ever going to play another game there again. Steinbrenner Field in Tampa is the spring training and single-A home, minor league single-A home, of the New York Yankees. Their clubhouse was recently remodeled. Out of the two ballparks here, Steinbrenner Field, right? Like, it's the Yankees' home. It's their home away from home. It's their Florida home. It's a nice home. Out of the two, the Rays have way better amenities and facilities and situations than the A's do in Sacramento because Sutter Health Park is home to the Giants' Triple-A team up in Sacramento. Used to be the A's own Triple-A team. And by the way, the Rays get exclusive use of Steinbrenner Field this year. It's their own field. When they don't play there, nobody else plays there. By the way, the reason they won't play there in the second half of the season is because it's going to rain so much. And MLB purposely front-loaded their schedule with a bunch of home games. They're basically on the road the second half of the season. More on that in just a second. But Sutter Health Park is a shared baseball facility this year. Pretty much a baseball game there every single day because the River Cats still play there. So it's a major league ballpark some nights. It's a minor league ballpark other nights. It was upgraded to get to major league standards this past winter, but as you're about to see, some of those upgrades still maybe not necessarily to major league standards. There are some quirks and situations there that it's up to you to decide whether that's sustainable for after this year, another year, maybe some more changes are made, but 3 or 4 years of this stuff might get fatiguing. We'll talk more about that in a second. Let's go to the Rays situation individually. Again, by necessity, Tropicana Field and the roof was ruined. Fans in Tampa and St. Pete, they've always complained about the drive from Tampa. Across the bridge with traffic, Tropicana is too far away. So this is kind of actually a novelty right now. And I've talked to some Rays media. I've talked to some Rays fans. I get a lot of comments here on the channel. There's a lot of Rays fans who are saying this is actually what we've been trying or wanting to try out for all the years. Not only the Rays in Tampa, like Tampa proper, but also the Rays outdoors for the first time ever. You understand that Rays fans, this is amazing, right? Because I've never had a home ballpark as a dome for any team that I follow or cover or love, but like they've never seen their team play home games outdoors. They are still bombarded by that novelty. Now, the outdoors part's about to get little wet and hot and sticky here in the second half of the year. More on that in a second. But yeah, just it's a novelty. It's a smaller environment. Maybe the crowds weren't going to be 20, 30,000 anyway for the Rays at the Trop. So getting 10, 11, whatever it is at Steinbrenner Field, maybe all this stuff feels good. But again, is that sustainable? Is it the right thing? Is it the best thing for the team? More on that to come later in the video. Fans aren't upset yet, right? Like they're not concerned about this because the team, as much as Orlando exists and there is the threat of relocation, the team is not actively going out there and pursuing parallel paths, and they're not out there kind of dragging relocation in the face of the fans right now. It's out there, and it does exist, and it might happen. It might happen. But fans aren't seemingly upset yet because it hasn't got to that stage of imminent relocation or conversation, anything like that for the Rays. The second half of their schedule this year is brutal. Of the final 103 games they'll play this season, 69 of those are on the road. Yeah, baseball made that schedule to avoid hurricane season, which inevitably would have caused a lot more game delays and suspensions. Okay, so the A's up in Sacramento, they are there by choice. They literally had the option to stay at the Coliseum. I get it, $19 million a year of rent, rather high for an aging facility, but also on a short-term deal, like that's what you were going to get. And look, $19 million a year for most baseball teams in a pinch, if they had to kind of be put in that situation, it's something they could get through for a few years. And be in a major league facility and not have to uproot and upend a lot of their players and employees and all that stuff, they're paying a lot of costs now just to be in this temporary spot. How much are they paying that they could have saved of that $19 million a year? I digress. It was expensive, but they had the option to do it. They took free rent and free upgrades from River Cats and Sacramento Kings owner Vivek Ranadive. So basically, they got free rent, free upgrades. Everything they needed was taken care of by somebody else for them up in Sacramento. And now you can see why that move happened, among some other things that made the move a lot easier. They're not selling out games regularly, dare I say, even ever. Because even when sellouts have been announced, we see photos, we see evidence. The place is not packed. It maybe was packed opening night. And that's it. And now we're seeing all those games against the Minnesota Twins on a Monday night, on a Tuesday night. And it's quiet and it's empty. It's embarrassingly empty. And my point on that is not to knock Sacramento. And it's not what this video is about. It's the whole point that I said months and years ago that if the A's couldn't sell out Sacramento and couldn't garner excitement in a new market with a kind of a clean slate, maybe Sacramento's too close to the Bay Area. Maybe Sacramentans feel a little bit used and in the middle of this, and maybe they feel like the tryout they thought it would be for baseball and them getting or keeping a team, maybe it's not turning out into that. And I'm not saying it's a bad showing by Sacramento. It's kind of a failed plan by the A's to go up there, gain some excitement, do this, and kind of showcase that it was not their fault in Oakland. Well, now it's looking more like it's the team rather than where they play. So they're still not selling out games, and that is important, right? Like, because they're not making money off gate, off merchandise, off food and beverage, off parking, off all that stuff. These are very difficult, costly years for the A's financially to be in this situation. Sacramento fans, like I mentioned, they're caught in the middle of all this existing drama. Some of them are like, wait, what has happened to get this team here? We're excited, but wait, are they staying? Will they give us a chance? Why won't they wear Sacramento across their chest? All of this, too, just kind of clouds the issue of Las Vegas groundbreaking. Was supposed to happen in February, then April. Then in June, we're here in June. I've yet to see an announcement on that. So there's more with the stadium. Like, let's get into the stadium. I know that's what this video is all about. We've kind of sidetracked here, but back to Sutter Health Park. Is this sustainable? Luis Severino, who's played for the Yankees, who's played for the Mets, who's played in the biggest stages and markets of baseball, talked about Sutter Health Park back in April. Quote, "The situation we have right now is not good, but this is what we have right now. So we have to just adjust to what we have and try to do the best job we can." If that's not the most safe comment, quote, but also sending a message, sending a point at the same time you've ever seen, like, that's Luis Severino, who also signed, I think, the biggest A's contract in franchise history, surpassing Eric Chavez's deal from, 2004, 5, or 6? It took 20 years for the A's to have their new largest franchise contract. It was $67 million, right? So even Luis Severino calling out what's not great about the stadium. This is a minor league park. It's not a knock against the stadium. It was built to be a minor league ballpark. It's a great minor league ballpark. Problem is, recently, when skipper Mark Kotsay got ejected for arguing some finger wagging and some calls, some balls and strike calls with the home plate umpire, he got ejected. Well, what happens to the manager when you get ejected? You can't be in the dugout. Well, how do you leave the dugout at Sutter Health Park? There's no stairs down to the clubhouse. The clubhouses are not under the stands. The clubhouses are out past the left field fence. Mark Kotsay, poor Mark Kotsay. I love Mark Kotsay. Let me also sidetrack this. So many players on the A's who have departed Oakland, and their staff, their clubhouse staff, their coaches, I've got a close relationship with some of these people. I love some of these people, like literally personally love some of these people. Always thought highly and fondly and kindly of Mark Kotsay. I don't want to see Mark Kotsay doing the darn walk of shame. This is not me saying, oh, ha ha. This is me saying He shouldn't have to do this. This is embarrassing. Getting thrown out of a game is not embarrassing. That's a tactic by major league managers, and sometimes they got to blow the steam off. The A's, as I'm recording this, have lost 18 of 19 games. He's got to blow some steam off. He shouldn't have to do the walk of shame at Sutter Health Park to go out to the clubhouse because he got ejected. Oh, if I were covering the A's this year and doing reporting on the A's and interviewing A's players in the press conference room, it's literally in that shed. Now, they just built a brand new clubhouse facility. How hard would it have been to take a room of that size and incorporate it in what you were already building? Did you forget about this? It's kind of an important piece of the puzzle. It's also one of those deals where when you put this up, what did you expect the reaction to be? I haven't talked about this much, but now that we're doing a video on both situations, Tampa and Sacramento, like even Tampa doesn't have something like this. What did you expect the response of this to be? Like you literally purchased that at a Lowe's or a Home Depot, or whatever. Is it a tough shed? Is there air conditioning in there? Is that going to blow away? The point is you're inviting 20, 30 media members and your most cherished players and coaches and managers to represent the team in a shed? Like that, I get it. It's a temporary situation. Maybe they'll replace this by next year. Maybe they've already looked at this and said, oops, we made a mistake. Maybe they'll make it right. But who thought that was going to be a good idea that wasn't going to get some kickback? How about when Jose Siri, in the first month of this season, did he foul a ball off his leg? He injured his leg. So he needed to be taken off by the cart. He needed to go to the clubhouse. Well, guess what? Clubhouse for the visiting team, also out there in left field. It's not behind the dugout, so they needed to put him on the cart. Problem is, when they drove out that gas cart out to get him, ran out of gas. Now, that's not the stadium's fault. But this is a minor league facility, and in Major League Baseball, they bring you to the dugout, then they bring you down the steps, and they bring you in the clubhouse. Clubhouse is right next to the dugout. In this situation, they had to bring him far away, and the golf cart ran out of gas. Yeah, they pushed it off the field. They brought out the electric one to come get him a second later. But what a bad look, right? Major League Baseball players do not want this. And then there's just a flat-out attendance. I mean, there you go. A's, and is that the Twins? Is that top of the eighth inning? There are whole rows there. What do you think if the ballpark seats 10, I want to say, and has room for 14 with seating out there on the grass? What do you think that is? And I know we can't see the whole stadium. 6, 5, 6? What was it probably announced at? 9, 10? This place, with a fresh slate, with Major League Baseball for the first time ever, it should be packed. Now, Steinbrenner Field. Let's switch back to Tampa for a second. There hasn't been a lot of chatter among Rays players. They had a really rough record to start off this year. There were some complaints about clumpy infield dirt, and the lighting situation is not the best for night games. It's more been criticism from opposing players who come into Tampa and play these games at Steinbrenner Field. Joe Ryan, Twins pitcher, said this, kind of on the single deck situation of Steinbrenner Field. There's not a second deck, so it doesn't protect from the wind. Also, they've said that Steinbrenner Field now, as a new Major League venue for this year, is the windiest ballpark in Major League Baseball. Used to be Wrigley Field in Chicago. Now Tampa's Steinbrenner Field for this year has taken over that claim. But there's structurally nothing to protect the players from the wind. Joe Ryan said the wind is there, and there's no foul territory. It's like you're going to smash into the wall trying to catch the baseball. It's a joke. Doesn't make sense. And I think what he's trying to do there is not bash the Rays, not bash the situation. Hurricane Milton is why they're playing there. Let's be honest. That's why they're in this situation. But he's saying playing at a minor league ballpark as a major league ball player doesn't make sense. And it's a joke. That's that part of it for him. Rocco Baldelli, Twins manager. He was talking about helping out one of his players, Cody Clemens, with the lighting system for the outfield. The lights aren't as bright as a major league stadium. The lights aren't physically as high as they would be at a major league stadium. So the ball, think about this. The baseball on a high pop-up, if the lights are here, the ball can go above where the lights are, be dark for a second, then come back into the into the lighted area of the field and be visible again. Not easy for an outfielder. So on the minor league lighting system for night games, here's what Baldelli told one of his players, quote, "As someone that hasn't played tons of outfield, I told Cody Clemens, his player, you don't take your eye off the sky. Just keep looking up and the ball will come out like back into the light at some point. If you look down and then look up, you're going to have no chance of finding that baseball. Granted, we're talking about minor things here, but like these are minor league things here for major league players. Blue Jays manager John Schneider also had a comment, and I think this was after a game where the Jays got kind of blown out by the Rays. He said, quote, "Today for the first time, kind of halfway through the game, is when the environment kind of creeps into your head a little bit. It's tough. It's really hot. By the way, there have been some hot, sweltering games in Tampa so far. And again, scheduling things, but they're like, that's literally an issue. Fatigue for fans and players. It's not sustainable, anybody thinks, to be playing ever outdoor games in Tampa or St. Pete ever again, but they're having to do it this year. And maybe they'll have to do it again for next year. Maybe Steinbrenner Field has to be their permanent temporary home for another season after this if Tropicana Field has politics and drama and doesn't pay another $25 additional million to get fixed, but I digress. It's really hot. The environment is just different. I don't want to say that we're spoiled, but everyone has earned the right to play in big league parks. Let me say that again. Everyone has earned the right to play in the big leagues in a big league ballpark. So I think that creeps in a little bit today. End quote. Forgot my stinger was coming there. By the way, do you like that little chime when I do the takeaways? I do takeaways from pretty much every video, but I just added the stinger to kind of really, I don't know, brand it, theme it. Anyway, let me know if you like that in the comment section below, or maybe that caught you by surprise. Maybe you hate it. So the heat in Sacramento and the hurricane season, the storms of Tampa, like we've talked about the beginnings of the seasons so far for these two teams and these two stadiums. The worst part hasn't even happened yet. So maybe we should reevaluate this after 120 games or 140 games, and I'll probably do that later on this summer. I also want to point out, too, that when you hear teams advertise, well, it's intimate. It's the most intimate ballpark in Major League Baseball. Well, that's one way of looking at it, but it's also a minor league ballpark, and there's a very fine line between intimate and second tier, right? Like it doesn't have all the amenities. That doesn't make it intimate. It doesn't make it first class, first tier. Intimate is trying to cover up the fact that it is a minor league ballpark. That's what these places were intended to be. The inconveniences, I would say, the walk of shame, the golf carts, the fact that if you need to use the bathroom and you're one of the Chicago Cubs players, and this happened earlier this year, you have to wait between the middle of an inning, between innings or half innings, to run out to the field, to run out to the clubhouse to go use the bathroom. There is no bathroom in the dugout. That seems like a minor amenity that pretty much every major league stadium has. But in Sacramento, like that's a minor inconvenience. These things all add up. These things become fatiguing over time. If you're just starting to already see quotes, wait until the end of this year. Wait until next year if this situation continues, what these quotes are going to be like. Both teams are most certainly losing money with these small crowds. The fact that they can't, for like a fireworks night or a 4th of July game or a big matchup or a rivalry, they can't get 30,000 fans anymore. At the Coliseum, the A's can't get for a huge game 45, 47,000 anymore. They are losing money at the gate, not only with tickets, and they can up the ticket prices all you want. That's fine. You're never going to catch up with all the other stuff that all those fans pay for when they come to a game. And look, both teams bound to probably miss the playoffs. Baseball must be feeling like this. Because could you imagine if both the A's and Rays were really good right now? If they were playoff bound for sure, if they were division leaders for sure right now, and they were headed to a postseason in minor league ballparks, what would you do? Because there's a double-edged sword problem there. Number one, do you play those playoff games in those minor league ballparks and kind of like sit on those rocks for a while and not feel great about that? Or do you make those teams go play their playoff games at neutral site locations elsewhere in Major League Baseball? There is no great solution to that problem, but that's not even a problem for Major League Baseball yet. So we've just started to uncover it. I don't think it's great. I think, in fact, it's trending worse, like it's going to get worse. But at this point, you can already start to see some of the kind of cracks of these situations. And look, some people will tell you it's fine, it's great. They love it. But I don't know that they understand the bigger picture of exactly what's going on here and the long-term ramifications. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. Also, thumbs up while you're down there. Really appreciate that. Helps me, the video, and the channel. And also hit that subscribe button. I would love to see you back here next time.